Welcome to Weekend Project. I'm Laura Lynn of the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, and we're very happy to see you here today. Today, I was kind of tidying up some of my stash, and I came across this ruler. It's a day and night ruler from Quilt in a Day of Eleanor Burns. And I went and watched the video. The video's about 9, 10 years old, and I think we need to do a new one, but that's not what this project is about today. I thought, well, how can I make this ruler, make something unique with the scraps left over from the quilt that I made my mom? That was what we were doing on their live stream for a few weeks here. So that's that right there. And I wanted to make a couple unique pillows to go with it. So in her video, she has you doing 4 squares or 4 triangles of each to make your one block. I took 2 of each and made this block. Okay, and then just use some of the other materials to bulk it out just a little bit, and I got a nice little pillow. And then I have some blue. I'll put some blue, bulk it out a little bit more. Maybe a 12, maybe a 14-inch pillow. I like to make 2. Okay, so what I have here is I took this ruler and I did all what she said for the measurements, your accent piece, your dark, your light, as she's talking the night and the day, and then your accent. I was using obviously the blue and the whites plus the yellow that we had in our quilt. I could have chose the green too. The green would have went, but I don't know, I picked the yellow. Maybe I should have done green. Maybe make 2 more pillows. You never know. All right, so with the scrappy bits, I laid out so I had at least, because you have to have them on an angle. These ones right here are 4.5, and the accent and the lights and the darks are, as well as these guys here, are 2. So you got to put them together in a certain way, as she has in her lovely video. And then you just line up your little ruler. I'll show you once we get this one done over here. I got 2 more to make. But once you line up your little ruler, whether it's on the day side or the right side, or sorry, the left side or the right side, you put it on your seam and you just trim out, and you got yourself an awesome little triangle. When even if you put if you just cut 4 of one and you put it together, it makes a beautiful pinwheel, actually. So there's half of it there, but I should have done a full one. Anyways, it's beautiful. So, and then of course she has it going together in a different way. I think she has her blocks going, hold on. Well, it's obviously the opposite side, but you end up using 8 of them to make 1 square. And that's, you could build a whole quilt that way, right? And she's got a very chipper personality. And in the video, she's wearing like a black and white suit, and she's just adorable. Gotta love Eleanor Burns. So yeah, so we're gonna make 2 more with the more of the bigger strip for the blue. That's this right here. Of course, I used it scrappy style. But what I could use the same was the kind of that old-fashioned print that was in the outside part of the quilt here. There was enough to do that for everybody, so for that 4. So tied it all together. All right, so now, with our 2-inch strips, they got our light and our dark, which they're not very different from each other, so you can't really see the whole night and day in this layout. But I'm trying to use my ruler and make it useful for something else besides the one quilt that she was suggesting it was for, right? Oops, I didn't mean to cut thread. And here's my other little strip. And because it was very scrappy in fashion, I made sure to have, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches to make sure I could get a triangle out of this once lined up. Like if I got it on here, there's going to be more to it, but you know, get it on your line, and you have to be able to cut. So I'm only going to get 1 out of this chunk. So that's why I thought, well, I'll just utilize it the best I can. Did I just drop that fabric? Oh, shiny objects. It's been a long day. It's been one of those days. All right. And I still have a whole bag of goodies to use for sure. All right, so we're just gonna cut here and trim up here because we don't need those little bits. They'll go off to the extra pile. And then I have, once you make the whole square out to just the one, if you just were used to four triangles, it comes to about 9 inches by 9 inches. So this little strip on this side is 9 inches by 2.5, and 9 inches by 2.5. And then over here, I think I got 2 or something like that and then it comes 13.5. So, all right. So once we have these 2, we're going to press to the dark on this. Okay, so we're going to make sure that that little circle fabric, it gets pressed up on here nice and even, so you don't see any shadow or anything. Okay, so let's move my mommy's quilt top out of the way, and we'll do a little press in here. of course, you can build a whole quilt out any way you like it. So just thought, well, how could we use this tool for something else? Not necessarily that block. Okay, so now when it comes to these ones, we have the accent color on the outside, and then it's going to be sewn with the white and then another section of blue. So, and then that's when you'll end up lining up on one of your seams here, the left and the right of this ruler. Isn't that neat? I was like, we got to figure out how this one works. I need to know. All right, I'm just going to line this one up here too. And I'll be sure to get one triangle out of each. And as you're cutting, they have you as the width of the fabric, of course. And in the utilization of your cutting, whatever you get off on the extra little bits here, they form a completely different project. So you kind of get like 4 in 1 sort of thing. Well, I guess it's 3 in 1. One kind of forms a spider web, and the other one is a, I forgot already. It's a good video. Line this one up here, and then we will give it a press. Okay. Use the side cutter there. Okay, now we have little strips just like this. And of course you'd have the width of the fabric, utilizing as you're moving your triangle along, you'd be cutting out and then moving it to here and then making the next triangle cut out. And then of course, like I said, all the extra little bits they make another project. So you can make like 2 little wall hangings and a quilt with all the extra bits, like a table runner or something. Okay, so I want to make sure I'm making them what they need to be is the opposite of this one. Just remember what I did here earlier. Okay, so I can line them, put them right one on top of the other because I know they're going to be the same. And I want to put the ruler on the left. Oh, sorry. Nope. There we go. Nope. Hold on. We'll get it. There we go. You have to have a little bit of a tip on the opposite one that you've done on. So on here, on this one right here, there's a bit of a tip missing sort of thing. It helps line things up. I needed to make sure it was going to be the opposite on that one. Okay, so once we line things up on the ruler, we make our very crucial cut. And she said to, have a partner, you cut up one side and the partner cuts down on this side or that side. I am just going to, twist it. I'm just going to twist the fabric. But I want to make sure I'm getting everything in before I cut. Okay. See, and I'm just going to move this and I can just line it right back up. Line it right back up where it needs to be and then cut on the other side. Completely without getting anywhere close to my fingers. Okay, and of course these are our little extra bits, but because our strips are so short, they're gonna look like something different. Okay, I'm scrap busting. All right, so now that we have our little tips there and our little tips there, we got to put these together. Okay, well that's little blues kind of throwing me off here. Here we go. I think they here. They should line up. Here. And this is just another way you can lay out the block. Like, look at that. Isn't that kind of neat? It's kind of pretty. It's got this little funky design to it, right? Or just a little bit different than the first one. There we go. Or we could go here and here, and here and here. Not that it really mattered too much, but there we go. And we'll just sew those together. Okay. So we'll put these two and sew down this line. Keep the yellows. And it's just another way to make a super funky block with this day and night ruler. Who'd have thunk it? Okay. Make sure that's the right ones together. And just 1/4 inch seam allowance, and just put her on and flip and flop those seams if they need to be flip and flopped. Okay, and then we'll line this one up. And then we'll put it together. And if you were to do 8, just think of a totally different pattern that you would have gotten just by twisting it this way and twisting it that way. Okay, so now we take those 2 triangles that we sewed together to make one really big triangle, and then we're just gonna, if you keep it there, if you keep the little chain piece, then it's easier to match them up and then line up, and then you can flip and flop. And then she does a little trick, not trick, but a tip that shows you when you sew across here, you actually unpick this little seam here, and you kind of do a little twist, and it makes the back so lay nice and flat. I thought that was really cool. Okay. Line it up. Of course, you could have put a pin in or two, but you know. She does say pedal to the metal, which made me laugh. All right, now where is, well, we'll just take this, and then apparently if you break that thread, and then go over here and unpick that little seam, like a couple of stitches, apparently. I don't know, it doesn't seem right. Oh, I'm sure I'm doing something wrong here. This is going to take some practice. That is for sure. Okay. Somehow, some way, these get all split and twisted, and I'm sure lots of people will leave me helpful tips in the comments, and I really appreciate it, because that is something I haven't quite mastered yet. But anyways, it looks really pretty. Yeah, it's just another way. Just another way to use that ruler to make a unique, different block. So we'll press that out. Okay. The best we can. It did say press with the seams open if you could. You know, it seems ideal. Okay. Now this should measure approximately 9. Yep. 9 by 9. Okay, and then we'll take these 2, which should be these ones right here, and sew them one on either side. Okay. Pin those, and then we'll sew the other sides, and that is another pillow done. Well, one side of it anyways. And I figured whatever I was using for the backing for her quilts, I would use for the back of the pillows. So, and she's in a wheelchair. She may use one for her back and one for her wheelchair. So I want to make her a matching pair. And not necessarily the Dresdens from the quilt project itself, but still using the fabrics. Okay. And we will give that a little press, and then we'll add our other little sides. Okay. Very pretty. I think she'll like it. And of course I can make one big, one small. That doesn't matter. So now these should measure out to be about 13.5. Yep. So that should fit there, and that should fit there. Perfect. And then at least these match, and then this is other fabric. That's not obviously the dots on this one, but it still matches up quite nicely. So we'll put in just a couple pins, and then we'll sew down that. And that is my weekend project. But you could totally make a bag maybe, you know, start flipping and flopping them and make a whole big row, and just experiment with the tools that you have at home, and you never know where it's going to take you. You could find yourself a whole new pattern creator. Put your pin in there. Okay, take that other pin out there. And also the last one on. And even that could be a block if you want. Okay, there's one block. Well, it's 13.5 by 13.5. You could certainly make it a little bit smaller if you wanted to. This strip doesn't have to be as wide. You can try and make it a 12.5 by 12.5, and that's your block, and you build it out from there. I'm sure it would be more on the whole eye-catchy part if you use the black and the white and the accent color. They use red in their video, but I think green would look lovely, especially with black. Anything with black and white, really. A nice lime green, a nice peach or a yellow, or, you know, anything along those lines. So there we go. Just give that a little press. Something nice and bright to contrast that black and white. There we go. And that's 2 different layouts for a block that was, you know, that's made for a totally different quilt. So hopefully you look in your stash and make the adventure and dive right in and see what you can create, okay? And I'd love to see it on the Facebook, on the Mafu page, whatever you want to do. You can even just send us an email if you don't want to join Facebook or anything like that. See, there we go. That looks lovely. That'll match nicely. And then maybe with a little green binding, whatever's left over. I think that would look lovely. Right. Okay, that's our project. Quick and easy. Enjoy your day. Check out your rulers. Think of another way to use them. All right? Take care, everybody. See you later. Bye-bye.